Okay, we are doing this totally unrehearsed. We made some notes in the car on the way up, and we're just going for it because that's the only. Where do we even look? Right here.
I don't know.
I think that's the eye. Let's try that. That feels awkward. So we are Kim and Clay. This is us,
Yep.
and we're starting a YouTube channel. How weird does that feel? Our goal is going to be figured out along the way, but really we just want to share things that will be helpful. Today is 10 secrets to a happy marriage. We're not total veterans. We've just been married 13 years, but we have some things we've learned and paid attention to.
We're not perfect, but
no, for sure not. But these are just some things that we hope will be helpful.
And they work for us, and we hope they work for you.
Yeah, so let's do it. So tip number 1 is to lighten up.
Throughout our years, I think we've become a lot more serious, right? Not intentionally.
I think life just gets more serious.
Yeah.
Like you're dealing with bigger things, and as our kids get older, you know, more emotions and yeah, I mean, right now we're running a business, Loom Journals, like that's what we're doing full time, and you know, that's been a big thing.
I think the point being, you have to be silly. And you're good at that. You always tell me we need to lighten up and have fun and be more playful.
I'm good at calling it out, but I hope I'm good at doing it. What are some examples of ways to lighten up and get
tickle fights, food fights?
Were you serious when you said tickle fights?
Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
With each other or with our
Sure.
kids?
No, I mean, well, the kids, yeah, but like tickle fights, like an
Okay.
elf, you know?
Okay, tickle fights.
Can we move on?
Okay,
Next
so
one.
lighten up. Just, you know, sometimes things, even when they are serious, you just gotta laugh and
take a breath.
lighten up. Be a kid again.
Okay,
Because
with
being an adult is not that fun. Let's just be kids.
Yeah. Number 2 is a better marriage is not going to just happen. I think we all want to have a great marriage. I think we all want to have great connection with our spouses, with our kids, but it doesn't just happen. In fact, I feel like so often I've waited for it to just kind of get better. And it, you know, obviously marriage and life ebbs and flows beyond our control, but if you want to have a better marriage and better connection, you have to go after it. You have to do things differently. You have to try things differently and take suggestions and not dig in with the pride that we all have, that I have, you know, that you're not going to do a certain thing or say a certain thing. And I'll give you an example. We've been writing in a marriage journal. I'm not a writer. I don't write in journals ever. In fact, I've got like a 3rd grade level handwriting capability. I think it's because I stopped writing when I was in 3rd grade. So, but doing this like little journal back and forth has been great because it allows us to connect on a different level that we've never connected before in 13 years. And it's been really fun and it's easy.
Okay, so you're saying sometimes someone might be like, nah, I'm not going to do that. But like things like that, not necessarily just the journal, but other things where that will help your marriage. Number 3 is to think beyond Pride and Prejudice. And what we mean by that is that I am definitely a romantic and I love BBC dramas like Poldark and Pride and Prejudice. I mean, the good thing for you is that they get me in the mood, but also it's not real life.
Listen,
like Pride and Prejudice, ladies, is not real life. There is no Mr. Darcy.
Do I feel pressure to show up on a white stallion and pick her up in a beautiful gown and take her to a ball? Yeah. Is that ever going to happen? No, that's never going to happen. Not that you can't have romantic sides, but yeah, you have
I guess what we're saying in a more practical way.
live in the real world a little bit, right?
But still
Be
find
romantic.
the romance.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying in a nutshell is that I used to think marriage and being in love was all about that romantic side of things. Whereas that's a part of it, but marriage is so much better than that, and it's so much more than that. It's about like friendship and getting through hard things and relying on each other and learning and growing together. That's sounding cheesy, but you know what I mean.
So let's go to the next one, number 4, and that is fighting. We're not like good fighters in terms of getting it out all the time. We like to hold it in and bottle it in. At least we have been, at least, you know.
Yeah, I think we're more peaceful. I feel like we're good communicators. Like I'm someone who doesn't just, I wouldn't say I always bottle it up. I like to say things. I like to say things how they are, but not in a way where we're like yelling and fighting, which is fine. I think it's just a different style.
Fine. Yeah, but you have to, better out than in, I think was the phrase that you said. Like better to communicate and not be under the assumption that your husband or your wife knows how you're feeling or should know how you're feeling. You have to let it out and let them into your mind, because otherwise, I mean, I can't tell you how often you felt in some way like maybe I should have known how you were feeling, or maybe you were assumptive to how I should know that you're feeling this way. And I'm like, wow, you told me. I'm like, I probably should have known that, but I didn't. So communicating that.
That's happened a lot. So assumption can get really dangerous. So yeah, it's better just to say things, and the longer you let things fester, the harder it is to talk about it. So yeah. The next one is to celebrate differences. I have to remind myself sometimes, okay, because sometimes I think, oh my gosh, we don't agree on this certain thing, like whether it's, you know, we're pretty on the same page with a lot of things, but we don't think exactly the same way about technology in the home or about what we eat in the home. Again, like we're pretty on the same page, but there's differences, and sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, we don't think the same way about this. And I have to stop myself and remember it's okay that we don't think the same way about everything. Like I don't want a clone for a spouse. And it's important to celebrate our differences because that's what makes us unique.
So often, I think when we have had a disagreement, at least in the past, it's just easy to bury it and not talk about it. I know we talk about communication, but
yeah, it's kind of along those same lines.
Opening up to the point where it's like being very descriptive and very kind, but also forward and direct. Like, this is how I feel, and I'm feeling this way because, and not in an attacking way, but just in a way that you're communicating openly and directly with your spouse so that they know exactly how you feel and there's not any ambiguity.
Okay, so the next one is to get away, and we're doing it right now. Yeah. We are in the mountains right now, which is one of our favorite places to be. We love getting outside. For me, just feel like it centers me and helps me feel peaceful. And it's hard to get away from our kids and arrange babysitters and pay for babysitters and figure out where to go and how long to be away. But we're just doing one quick night, but it's so important to take that time just whenever you can. I don't think there's a hard and fast rule like you need to do that once a month or every 3 months. It's just whenever you can, because the idea is not so much where you're going or even how long you're away. It's that you're stepping outside of your usual roles, especially if you're a parent. But even if you're not, just like your day-to-day routine, it's so good for your relationship to get out of that and get a fresh, broader perspective of the world and life and each other, just to reconnect with each other. So that's what we're doing right now.
Speaking of connection, the next one, pillow talk, not logistics. So how often in our marriage, especially when we had kids, where it's just like anytime we get a moment to breathe, it's about who's taking who to practice and how we're going to accomplish the next day's task. And those are all great things, but
and especially with work now, we could talk work nonstop.
So we have to for us, we physically leave our phones downstairs and we try to remind ourselves, okay, when we go upstairs to bed, it's not going to be talking about work or kids, just making time to communicate and connect on a level that's beyond logistical, parental, familial, jobs and duties. All good things, but you have to get beyond that. You've got to get a little deeper sometimes. Not every night, obviously, but
yeah. And the pillow talk for me personally is just a time to decompress. And sometimes I do need to talk about work or logistics or hard things. And so sometimes I do need to talk about what's on my mind in order to unwind and to connect. So I think for me, more importantly, is just that we are talking and making that space to talk and focus on each other instead of going to our phones, or even for us, books. Like, we love books. Sometimes it's easy to get into the routine. Okay, we get ready for bed, we sit down and read. Good night. You know what I mean? But taking that time to connect with each other when our kids are in bed is really important. Okay, so the next one, we just have 3 more, is do new things together. And studies show that if you try new things as a couple, and it doesn't have to be skydiving or anything too crazy, but just something you haven't done together before as a couple, that adds fulfillment and happiness to your marriage. So trying something new, whether it's a totally new restaurant or something a little bit daring, is really important. So yeah, 2 more.
Next is supporting each other in your hopes and dreams. So, of course you support each other. But I think one of the lessons I learned early on in our marriage was that just because it's not as important to me doesn't mean that it's not important to you. And so that I can look at things in a different way and be like, you know what, it's not really my cup of tea or what I'd like to do, but I want to not only just say I support you, but also actively put myself, how can I help you? Yeah. How can I help you chase down that dream? Because you're better together. You're better in your dreams together, even if they're not the exact same things. Putting yourself in a position to say, yes, go do that, and I will support you. I want you to go do that because I know that it makes you happy.
Yeah, there's a difference between saying, yeah, you can do that, and giving permission, which is great. But like going above and beyond and being like, I am going to help facilitate your dream, even in a small way, that speaks volumes to like how much someone cares about you. Oh, the last one we can talk about together is to break the rules sometimes and be spontaneous.
Like stay up past 10 p.m. In and out.
We might do that tonight. We'll see.
Go to In and Out at like 11 o'clock at night.
We've done that before. Just do something that's, you know,
keep your
out of the norm
like
for
take
you.
your kids out to ice cream at 9:30 at night. You know, I know it's like you're kind of punishing yourself, but it's also you got to do crazy things and build memories and those different ways to communicate and connect that are just going to be lasting memories is, I think, what's most important.
So hopefully some of these tips have resonated with you. Again, we've never claimed to be experts. We're just sharing what we've learned and what we know and what helps us have a happy marriage most of the time.
Yeah. You're the one being awkward. I'm being normal. Get a bug in your hair.
We're not very centered.
Hi.
Still feel like I need to be back.
Just kidding.
Is that?
Yeah, I think that's it.
I don't even know what we're saying here.
There we go. It's.
So we're gonna switch off type of thing. Yep. I'm going. We'll look down if we need to, right?
Yeah. Well, I need to look down.
I'm about to slide off into.
Look how even we are. Are you kidding me?
Okay, but look, I'm forward.
It doesn't. I'm right with you, babe. Oh.
No.
Okay, babe.
Okay.
Let's go.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Do we introduce ourselves?
Yes.
My acting teacher, Chris Clark, once told me, well, he told our whole class an exercise where you say names of soda, and that's how you warm up your mouth. You enunciate it a lot, like Diet Coke.
Ow.
Sprite. Don't you feel looser?
No. Like